Hi, this is Denise Williams, and we're on this financially focused journey to really build your financial table. You know, we want 4 strong legs: income, investments, protection, and your mindset. And as a couple, it's about having a shared vision. However, let's face reality. Divorce happens. Marriages break up. Sometimes we can't make it work. Now, the thing is, in the marriage, sometimes there are assets, but many times there's debts, okay? And with this powerful panel that we have, we are going to look at the implications of marriage and debt and divorce from different perspectives. So we start at our end in the red tie, Mr. Mandel Thompson. He is our financial advisor. We have Kaleen Dietrich. She's our relationship counselor. And we have Mr. Vinton Thomas. How are you, sir? All right, and he is a realtor with the alphabet behind his name, and he's also a life coach. Now, there's so many different ways we can spin it. There's the debt you had before the marriage that you brought into the marriage. There is debt incurred during the marriage. And when we're facing divorce, the question is the responsibility for debts. But of course, you know, we're humans. We have many levels. So we're not just looking at it financially, because even though we're financially focused. And that's why we have this powerful panel. So, but I'll start with the finances. Mr. Mandel Thompson. Yes, sir. So, now you know my whirlwind romance with somebody called Aubrey. And it was, you know, I loved him deeply. It was wonderful, but it didn't work out. And now we have to look at till debt, D-E-B-T, do us part. And I say Aubrey should take all the debts of the marriage, including the debt I brought into the marriage. Wow. My question is not whether that's fair or not. I hear Kaleen laughing. It's not a question if it's fair. It may not be fair. Okay. The question really becomes, though, from a financial perspective, what is the implications on my credit report? What is the implication on Aubrey's credit report? If we're divorced, there's debt. Who carries that responsibility, and what do you, as a banker, say about that? So we're not talking about what the lawyers say and the judge. We're talking about the bankers. What does a banker say when you look at my credit report?
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. Right?
Sure.
So the marriage has been dissolved.
Yes.
Right. Both would have financial obligations with different institutions. And when did the debt go bad? Because it would mean one or both parties would need to stop paying.
Aubrey's spiting me. He's not paying.
Aubrey's spiting him.
Yes,
he's not
yes.
paying.
He's
okay,
just,
fine.
know, he's trying to ruin my life. Yes.
So we know how it goes. But
yes.
typically, they're a part of the divorce settlement. There'd be a judgment or a decision on the property as to what should happen. It's either one party buys out the other, or the asset would have to be sold. That will clear the debts, and whatever is left would be shared.
Yes.
Right. Typically, the one party will want to buy out the other.
Okay.
So if the woman is trying to buy out the husband, she typically go to the bank, get herself pre-approved to see if she can financially carry the burden of taking on or taking over the mortgage.
Okay, so I'm going to cut this. That's tip number 1. So if you're dealing with divorce and debt, you still need to visit the bank. You need to get pre-approved to see what kind of financial obligation you can carry. Yeah,
because the bank will need to, or whoever the lender is, will need to determine if you can afford to take on the additional debt of maintaining the asset.
Okay.
Right, because remember, financial institutions typically are lending depositors money.
Yes.
So they're not just going to give you that money.
Even though I have a case that Aubrey is wicked.
Right. It don't matter how wicked Aubrey is.
Yes.
Right? Or vice versa.
Oh, no, never,
But,
never me. No,
so there has to be an assessment. Now, one thing I notice is that persons typically, as I say, out of spite, will stop paying.
Yes.
And I would say it's important to speak with your banker or a financial advisor to get advice as to how to treat in going through the situation, because you don't want to have a situation where you can make your situation worse because you didn't have the right information.
Okay, so that's tip number 2. Get good information.
Yeah, you need to get information prior.
Yes.
Right? So, because as you say, your credit can be impacted.
Oh, so that's number 3. Check your credit score.
Right. Now, if it is that you have stopped paying,
yes,
or someone has stopped paying on the debt,
yes,
if the debt goes into default, it will impact your credit score.
Right.
Once that entity or institution is reporting to the credit bureau.
Okay.
Right. So once you know payments stop,
yeah,
you know that it's going to impact the credit.
Right.
But the good thing, though, right, it doesn't mean that you're doomed. The credit can be fixed, right?
So
it can be remedied.
Fix your credit.
It can be remedied, right?
All right, fantastic.
Now, it may be painful because you may have to look at having the assets liquidated, right?
Yes.
In order to, get some of these debts off.
Right.
But guess what? It's a part of the dissolution process. You may have to start over.
Yes.
In all areas of your life.
Yes.
But the key is information. Once you get the information from the right professionals,
yes,
to know what all your options are,
yes,
and the various actions that you can take and the consequences.
Yes.
Once you have the right guidance,
yes,
then you can make the right decision so that you can transition into a better life.
So know your options, know the consequences of your options,
right,
and work with good people.
Yes.
All right. But you just mentioned it being painful. It is so painful. Do you want to hear all the things Aubrey did to me?
It depends.
You want to hear the list of things Aubrey did?
It depends on the conditions and circumstances.
So that's why we have to turn to Kaleen as the relationship coach.
Yes.
There is a thing called emotional debt. So the marriage has busted up. We're in divorce, but there's still that emotional debt. I'm still angry. I'm still hurt. I can't believe this happened. I'm confused. How do we untangle the emotional debt?
You definitely want some professional assistance.
Yes.
Professional intervention at this time is pertinent to keep cooler heads, because you mentioned that Aubrey is biting you. He decided not to pay. So that, with whatever would have transpired in the relationship, is definitely something you want to unpack with a professional. Help you to put things into perspective so you can walk in there with a cool head, so you can weigh all the options that the financial institution is guiding you along, whatnot. Also, for you there to be some level of civility whenever it is that we are dealing with each other. It does, it's not daggers drawn. And if it is that the situation is volatile, err on the side of caution, move out.
But hold on. But you remember I tell you Aubrey's wicked. But now I found Peter.
Oh. Wow.
So, I mean, isn't that a solution?
So quick?
Just move on.
No. There needs to be full disclosure for Peter's safety.
Why?
Because I don't know where Aubrey is mentally. Because the deal is this, I might decide that it's time to be over. I don't know who decided to end the relationship. Yes,
right.
And if Aubrey is annoyed, hurt, that he has been spending all his money on you, and then all of a sudden there is Peter.
Yes, but you see, guess what? I need to recover quickly because there's debt.
No.
Peter.
Peter is not an option for Peter's safety and for yours.
Run, Peter, run.
No, exactly. Take care of yourself quick and fast. So the deal is this. It is to ensure now that you are stabilizing yourself emotionally, that you don't pull somebody else into the picture.
So that's tip 1.
Right.
So you're saying to remain financially focused, become emotionally stable.
Become emotionally stable.
All right.
Right. And
second
the other
tip
thing is this: do not bring in a third party.
So leave Peter
alone.
Full
disclosure.
Yes.
There has to be full disclosure so Peter knows what exactly it is that he's walking into.
So Peter should know that I am divorced from Aubrey.
There you go. And Aubrey mad and wicked.
Aubrey's wicked. I have a lot of financial debt, and I need Peter's help.
No, we never said anything about getting Peter's help. No.
Run, Peter, run.
Exactly. You give Peter the information so Peter can make an informed decision whether or not this is a task he is, keen on undertaking.
Many people, on a really serious note, so many people, they don't get counseling when there's a debt. There's financial pressure. There are debts, but they're not getting counseling. I mean, again, just give us a big tip for somebody that needs to get a grip after this big life change?
Absolutely, for your peace of mind.
Yes.
For your peace of mind. And if it is that you have children, let's say you and Aubrey have children, you have to co-parent with this individual. Wow, you had 10. Well, you were very busy.
Aubrey
then
don't miss.
you're going to, I'm telling you.
Well, should Peter know that?
Oh, wow, absolutely.
Yes.
He should know. He should know. The deal is this. You want to ensure that you are both in a space mentally to co-parent, so you don't destroy these children, because you guys have decided that it's time to go your separate ways.
So it's not just about the money, it's not just about the debt, it's about the children.
It's about the children, because they are usually the ones who are most impacted emotionally, right? And the deal is this, oftentimes what I find is that some of the parents want to pit the children against the other parent.
Okay.
So it becomes, the children become a pawn in the process.
Yes.
You don't want this one to go and you know that your mother have Peter.
Yes.
You know, did you see your mother with Peter?
Right.
You know, you're trying to get information from the children and so on. So it is absolutely necessary for you to have professional intervention. So the lower energies, we dispel with all of the spite and the foolishness.
All right. Okay. I love that. You bring in the energy, because now we have life coach and realtor. Vinton, give us 3 big tips.
Okay,
you know, because you know, I'm upset with Aubrey, but there's debt.
Yeah,
and I want Aubrey to deal with it.
Like my friend panelist has said earlier, is that at this stage of mind now, at the stage that you're at, your mental health is stressed.
So tip number 1, your number 1 investment now is your mental health.
Absolutely.
Is grossly affected.
Okay.
So here, when your mental health is grossly affected, you make some decisions that are not really favorable.
Okay.
Right, with your life. So in order to move forward, you need to put yourself in a situation where you can go focus.
No, let me put on my glasses to listen more.
You need to see what you're saying. You have to see what you're saying.
You need to say to yourself, okay, here am I, right? Is Peter my solution?
Yes, Peter's an awesome guy.
Yes, Peter's an awesome guy, but is Peter a rebound?
Oh, okay.
He
So
is.
you're mentally not ready for that yet.
Yes.
Because you're just using Peter to cover up.
Yes.
Right,
pain.
what Aubrey did to you.
Yes.
Right? So you know this design, need to know exactly what is that you want to do.
Right.
And in order to do that, sometimes it's best to step back.
Step back.
Analyze yourself.
Yes.
See where you're at. And the children. What are the best bet for the children?
Oh, okay.
Get the children
all right.
involved.
So we're saying the investment from a life coach perspective is my mental health, and then an assessment of the support that the children need.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Number 3, what's the...
not using Pete as a cover-up.
No cover-ups.
Running off to say, okay, I'm going to grab something to cover this.
Okay.
Oftentimes we put things under the carpet, not realize that it's not there. And you go into another relationship without even mending the other relationship.
Right.
So you need to mend that relationship first,
So,
mentally.
Right. So even though we are financially focused, we're looking at the debts. We're looking at the possibility of the impact on the credit score. We're looking at being pre-approved from your banker to understand where you stand financially. Kaleen and Vinton are saying life coaching, mental health, assessment of the children are investments that are equal.
Absolutely.
Wow. All right. So there you have it. We have a powerful panel that's really helping me to not just run after Peter, but to work through the lingering issues that my whirlwind marriage to Aubrey had brought forth, because we're looking at till debt, D-E-B-T, till debt do us part. And this can have strong implications on building your financial table. My name is Denise Williams. I'll see you in a few.